Very much. Apologies for the slightly delayed start to this 3 o'clock meeting of the West of England Joint Committee. My name is Mike Bell. I'm the leader of North Somerset Council and the chair of the Joint Committee. And we've obviously got round the table Sarah Warren from Bath and North East Somerset Council, who's substituting for Kevin Guy. Claire Young from South Gloucestershire Council, and I've got apologies from Mayor Marvin Rees. Well, we're deeming that we've got apologies from Mayor Marvin Rees because he's not here. And obviously we've got Richard Bonner from the LEP, and we've also got Councillor Ed Plowden, who's chair of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee. So we'll push through the agenda as quickly as possible because I know we're supposed to be out of the building, so we'll crack on. So item 2 is the declarations of interest. Are there any?
Just to record that my register of interest is up to date, Mike. Thank you.
Great stuff. Thank you very much. And the minutes of the last meeting, which are in the papers. So is everyone happy that they're a correct record from last time? Yep. Thank you very much. Okay. I've got no announcements from the chair under item 4. We had 2 questions that were submitted in advance, which have been answered on the authority's website. I just wanted to add one thing. One of the questions was about whether North Somerset Council is going to become members of the combined authority. And just to add to the response that's been prepared and published by officers, absolutely, despite sitting through the meeting earlier, North Somerset Council definitely is still interested in becoming members of the combined authority, because devolution and the combined authority arrangements are really important to the future of the economy and infrastructure of the West of England, and North Somerset recognises that we need to be part of that conversation. I have been having conversations with the combined authority mayor about that, and we will continue to do those in the future to try and reach a way forward that works for everyone. We did have a number of public statements that were submitted in advance, and I think only Dave Redgewell is still here, and he's very kindly agreed to keep his remarks to 1 minute.
Yep, I have. So first of all, just to say on behalf of stakeholders, we welcome North Somerset joining the West of England Mirror Combined Authority, and we will be lobbying as transport users for that to happen, because the bus service improvement plan is with North Somerset. My only point there was to say we've got to resubmit it with North Somerset and with not with a delegated sign-off, but with a member sign-off and the mayor by the 12th of June on the revised plan. That was my point there. Second point on Metro West, just want to make sure if we bring in accessible stations for David Gibson, we've got to deal with Weston-super-Mare and Nailsea and Backwell. We cannot deal with the others without dealing with those stations on the local lines. So that's the second point. On the third point, it's about the electric buses. Yeah, it's not just Hengrove Depot and services around Bristol, but it's also Weston-super-Mare. And we want to make sure that bid goes through and we win both bits of the bid for the city region. So those, and then the other bit was about making sure North Somerset Council is also part of the work on Temple Quarter, because our trains come into Temple Meads from North Somerset and from Metro West South, from Weston and the lines to Taunton. So hopefully that, but absolutely, as far as stakeholders are concerned, we want to see the Wessex Combined Authority dead and buried. Thank you.
Thank you, David. You did a great job in keeping it to time, and I'm sure that colleagues around the table will follow on in that spirit. Okay, so item 6, any comments from the chair of the LEP and Richard?
Thank you very much. Just very briefly, a couple of points. First of all, Mike joined the last LEP board meeting with other members, and you made it clear that North Somerset wish to continue with a LEP or business board that brings the 4 areas together, of which the business members are very supportive and have always said that that should be the case. Just to deal with the important matter today, with regards to the LEP budget setting report, it is important through my fiduciary responsibilities that I continue to be able to make sure that as the chair of the Local Enterprise Partnership that we are clear that we have the appropriate approach. We note that the overall LEP revenue grant funding has attracted about £24 million into the region through the medium-term financial strategy period. The West of England Office agreement underpins the Local Enterprise Partnership. This agreement deals with the risk-sharing mechanisms between the relevant councils. There is uncertainty, of course moving forwards about the shape and structure of this agreement, and failure to deliver a local enterprise partnerships integration following the government's decision to withdraw central government support for LEPs from April 2024 and the transfer of their functions to local and combined authorities is a fundamental risk that we need to move forwards with, but I would like to be assured that we have the reserves to deal with what might unfold if we can't get agreement in the future. We might not need to answer that today, but I would like to have written assurance that we've got the necessary reserves. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Richard, and I'm glad you mentioned the recent LEP board meeting, because I would like to just acknowledge the support that there was from business board members and business voices for North Somerset's continuing involvement in the business voice arrangements in the future for the West of England, and also other unitary authorities who've been similarly supportive. And I think we all recognise the importance of moving forward on that issue, getting a resolution so particularly the business and education communities understand what's going to be happening with the business voice arrangements and LEP integration going forward. Okay, item 7 is any comments from the Overview and Scrutiny Committee. So Ed, thanks so much for hanging around.
I'll keep it very short. If we're going to be looking at the role and purpose of the combined authority, then we think that the arrangements for the LEP should be very much part of that, and we would advise that if we could bump up the role of the advisory groups, then that might actually mean that the LEP can fit in quite well.
Great, thank you very much. Appreciate those comments. Item 8 is comments from the Audit Committee. I know that there was a representative at the earlier meeting, but they're no longer here, so I don't think there are any comments that have been submitted, so thank you for that. So then we move on to item 9, which is the substantive item on the agenda this afternoon, which is the Local Enterprise Partnership Budget Setting Report. So you'll see the recommendation is as set out in the report, which covers the budget for the LEP and for Invest Bristol and Bath for 24-25. So I'm happy to move the recommendation set out in the report, and I'll invite a seconder or any amendments that colleagues want to move. Claire.
Is that working? It is. Sorry. So I'll try and keep this as brief as possible. Sarah discussed in the previous meeting the issue of delegations. We would wish to add to the end of items 6 and 8 in this list of recommendations. In the event of a consensus not being reached at CEO's level, decision making will be escalated to the West of England Joint Committee, and adding the same thing to both of them. So I would just like some advice on that from the monitoring officer.
Yes, I'm afraid I have to advise in the same way that I advised when that amendment's been proposed in relation to the business of the Combined Authority Committee, that being in order for there to be an effective delegation to the CEO must be able to operate that delegation without having to achieve consensus of another group of officers. There are certainly ways that I've been discussing with the monitoring officers around developing a mechanism to get things back to the committee in the event that there isn't consensus, but I'm afraid the amendment that you're proposing is not, in my view, a legally sound and compliant way of doing that.
So, noting that, I'm not going to press that further today, but we would look to have something come back to the next meeting and the officer level they work together, because this is an important point for all the reasons we have previously discussed. And I would just, we have some case law, including Begg versus Luton Borough Council 2017, which may be relevant. But I think we'll leave that to officers, and we'll just I'm happy now to second the items as they are.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I think that's really clear, and thank you, Claire. And it just, for me, it reiterates the point about the urgency of having a governance review that addresses some of these issues, because we keep hearing these themes coming back time and again, and it does need to be addressed. Sarah.
Can you hear that now? Yes. Okay, I would support Councillor Young's request for further legal advice on that. In normal times, no such route for re-referral back to the Combined Authority or Joint Committee or the Combined Authority Committee would be required, and it just really reflects where we are with some of the relationships, that it's necessary, but it absolutely is necessary that we find a form of words that will affect that. So for a future meeting, thank you.
Okay, can we make sure that that's noted then, that we do want to address this issue again and get further advice, so that we can avoid this recurring. I'm going to bring in Richard, who I know has got an update from government on some deadlines.
Yeah, I mean, just two things really. I mean, one to say that we are working hard to reach that conclusion, particularly on the future of the business voice discussions that are going on, and including those political conversations to ensure that we can make something that works well for certainly for our mayor and also for the joint committee as well. Then, secondly, we have had some correspondence from DLAC today. I can't read it out because my laptop has died after the length of the earlier committee. But we are, there is core funding, which is shown in the budget line for 24-25 at 240,000. And clearly the department quite rightly want us to get on and get this agreement. And it is, not a surprise that therefore they will use that funding as a helpful lever to help focus our minds on this, and seems pushing us to get that agreement by 9th of February 2024. And just to be very clear, so we do need to get on with it and get that agreement in place as quickly as we can. I think the department have been incredibly patient with us, really, but we do need to focus on it and deal with the issue.
Good, thank you for that, Richard. So we've got a proposal and a seconder for the adoption of the recommendation. So I'll take that to a vote in a moment. Just to say, we've got a deadline here, guys, in terms of resolving what we're doing around LEP integration. And certainly from a North Somerset perspective, I'm very happy to get around the table and let's thrash this out and reach agreement as quickly as possible, because what we absolutely don't want to be doing is undermining the reputation or authority of our relationships with the business community in the west of England, or risking investment from government. And I think the steer from government has been very helpful in pushing us in the right direction. So if everyone's content, we'll take the vote on the proposals. Everyone in favour? Yep. Thank you very much. And on that bombshell, I can close the meeting. Thank you very much for your participation. Well done, Chair.